game companies went the exact opposite way, and now you have to pay for the sponsored content. Like, you go into Fortnite and you pay money for the official K-pop Demon Hunters skin. It's like, why am I paying to advertise their film? So far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, same question. What is your favourite animal?
I don't specifically have a favourite, but I do love watching videos of pandas just being pandas.
Yeah, you just look at them and go, how do these things survive in the wild? And then you look at interviews of people who look after pandas or experts on them and go, they don't do well. So first things first, welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekends, a series where I, your host this episode, Karl Smallwood, or when they happen to be presenting a video, my good friend Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
Scour the limps and breadths of the internet to find a wiki on a subject you're interested in and bring it forward for discussion. And since we're in the month of December, holiday season, the season where people like to get toasty, they like to reminisce, they like to get a bit nostalgic, all of my subjects this month are things that I'm nostalgic for. So, I've decided to talk about the TV show Planet Earth. And the reason why I associate Planet Earth with the holiday season is because, when I was younger, one of the things I'd most look forward to around Christmas time is when you'd get the David Attenborough documentary that had been filmed that year, airing on the BBC.
We started making the very first Planet Earth series just over 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because it's just like, that's the thing, you say Planet Earth and I'm like, okay, I know that is one of the many David Attenborough documentaries, but I couldn't tell you which one it was.
Yeah, there are so many, and they're all absolutely fucking phenomenal. And one of the things I've been doing in recent years for Christmas time is finding something that I want to watch, play, listen to, interact with, and then specifically going out of my way to book off time to enjoy that thing. So I turn my phone off, I turn all the lights down, get nice and cozy, get myself a beer, get myself a takeaway, and just interact with that thing. And last year, the thing that I wanted to watch from start to finish was Planet Earth, and I bought myself the Blu-ray. And I consider this to be one of the best deals I've ever gotten. So already it's a Blu-ray, so you know they're quite expensive, Lucas. It is Planet Earth, which is one of the most well-regarded documentaries ever made. And it also contains, and I have it here, 550 minutes of footage. So nearly 10 hours of the most HD, fuzzy-ass animals you've ever seen. How much do you think I got this for?
So, I vaguely remember you pointing this out when you got it. Maybe it was like a $5?
£2.
£2. In my head, it was either £2 or a $5, yeah.
£2. £2.
Because in my head, I thought £2 and then went, nah, that's too good a deal. It's got to be at least a $5.
No, I got it for £2 and I was like, holy shit. And yeah, I just spent an entire day just watching Planet Earth. In I saw the most high quality zebras you've ever seen. They're in higher definition than they are in real life. I was looking, I'm like, man, it's almost like they're in my front room because I got really drunk towards the end. I was like, oh, yeah, animals.
God. And I will say, I've never gotten around to the point where, yes, I prefer to, play games and stuff that can maybe be in 4K on my 4K TV. I've never gotten to the point where the price of a 4K Blu-ray seems worth it compared to the price of a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if this is a 4K one, this is just a Blu-ray copy. But no, I just thought it was a really good deal to see the most high-quality zebras man has ever seen.
But, I wanted to, I remember with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I wanted to get the 4K
broadly,
Blu-ray version.
There's going to be a discussion about just media we like to watch around Christmas time. So, yeah, what's the thing you've watched in the highest quality then? I would want to watch in the highest quality. I imagine it's Into the Spider-Verse.
It would be the Spider-Verse films, which I do want to eventually get a 4K Blu-ray version of, but I ended up just getting the Blu-ray because I was like, this thing costs 30 odd quid for one film that I can watch on streaming, and it's at that point, do I really want to be spending all that on the extra detail that I'm probably barely going to notice?
And I have a similar thought process and ah about buying Blu-rays of movies that I like, or physical copies of games that I want to play, or like going to the cinema on my own to watch a film that I really want to watch. And that's why I decided a couple of years ago, around Christmas time, I'm going to ignore that little voice in my head that says, well, that's a bit expensive, isn't it? And say, no, I want to play this game, watch this thing. I'm going to watch it, play it in the highest quality possible, and I'm not going to allow any interruptions whatsoever. And you can justify that around Christmas time with, fuck it, I'm taking time off for myself, I'm sitting down and I'm just playing through. For example, one of the years I said, I want to play through Final Fantasy X from start to finish with no distractions. One of my favourite games, so I just sat down and did that.
Yeah, I respect that, and I try to do similar things of, like, when I'm off, I try to not, like, interact with anything around work. I just try to actually be off work, and, yeah, it's one of those things, like, I think it would be dangerous if you took that mentality all year, unless you've got a lot of money, a lot of disposable income. But yeah, I think it's good to every now and then be like, hey, you know, I'm taking time off for whatever reason, be it Christmas or other. Just, I'm going to treat myself, right?
Yeah, like sometimes you're allowed to be a little bit selfish. And I think the 2 times of the year where you can justify being selfish without feeling too guilty is Christmas time and your own birthday.
Or just generally a holiday that you celebrate, of course.
Yeah, like anything that you'd like happen to celebrate. Now, I'm speaking for myself here. I want to speak to any of the audience. I'm not sure, like, you know, what holiday you celebrate. Whichever you happen to celebrate, hopefully you take time for yourself during that because, hey, you got an excuse to do so. But let's see what the wiki has to say about Planet Earth, shall we, Lucas? So, Planet Earth is a 2006 nature documentary television mini-series. And I can see you just going, is it because you didn't realise it was from 2006?
Yeah.
And it was created as a collaboration between the BBC Natural History Unit, BBC Worldwide, and the Discovery Channel, in association with NHK and CBC. And over in the UK, Lucas, who narrates Planet Earth?
Who narrates nature? It's
David Attenborough. He's the voice of nature. I wasn't aware of this. For the Discovery Channel version, so the version that Americans got to see, it's Sigourney Weaver. I'm not mad at that.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
When I watch a documentary about the planet or animals, if it's not narrated by David Attenborough, the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, I would implore Americans, if they've never watched a David Attenborough documentary, to do so.
Go watch them.
He is literally the man made for that job. Like, I believe the only reason he ended up doing this is because he was already interested in the documentarian aspect of it, of like actually being out there and seeing, nature and animals and things.
We've been doing it for decades. Like David Attenborough,
yeah.
Famously has television awards for television he produced in black and white, standard definition, high definition, 4K and 3D. He's the only person on the planet who can make that claim, and it just shows how long he's been working in the industry and making footage of animals.
He was enormous. I reckoned about 10 feet long. As he circled us, flicking out his great yellow tongue.
Want to say he's been doing this for 50, 60 years?
Over half a century easy, yeah. He's 99 years old.
One of the maybe few people left that is actually considered a genuine just British establishment.
Yeah, he's
hero.
A national treasure. He's a British institution. He's one of those people during the you must have the conversation at the pub at some point of is there someone who, when they die, you're going to be really upset about it? I think a lot of people in the UK is David Attenborough. There's a 100%. Friend of mine who every time we hang out and we talk about animals as we often do, they're like, yeah, I'm really not looking forward to when David Attenborough goes. It's going to be a real sad day.
No, it's going to be fine because we can just use AI of his voice.
I can't believe that people actually suggested that. With James Earl Jones.
God.
James Earl Jones, people don't know, like I said before we die, fuck it, record my voice and use AI so I can be Darth Vader forever, just pay my family. Who gives a shit? It's Darth Vader. Darth Vader, important character, but ultimately, who really gives a shit? It's a movie series. It feels so soulless to have an AI David Attenborough narrating over footage of animals.
It would be heartbreaking, and I think I'm going to care more that David Attenborough dies than when the Queen died.
Yeah, the only thing I cared about when the Queen died is I got a day off.
Yeah, I don't respect the royal family, so it's fuck them. But David Attenborough's done something actually good for the country.
Going back to what we mentioned earlier with the American version of this show being narrated by Sigourney Weaver, I would implore any Americans out there to go watch the David Attenborough presented documentaries that he's hosted, which include Planet Earth, and there's a couple of listed ones here, Planet Earth 2, The Blue Planet, Frozen Planet, Planet Earth The Future, and Planet Earth 3.
At this crucial time in our history, we must now look at the world through a new lens. This is Planet Earth 3.
I do like that we got sequels to Earth.
It's because they just wanted to get more footage.
Yeah.
And one of the best things about this Blu-ray when I got it is like the special features, which is, hey, here's how we film this stuff, which is just
Oh, God.
even more footage in like the highest possible quality of just people traversing the most like remote, inaccessible regions with like a shit ton of camera work, and it shows you all the stuff behind the scenes of how they capture certain shots, and they're in themselves quite fascinating because they talk about how like, yeah, this is a great shot. Look at this, the great shot for the show. It's like, it's about 10-15 seconds of watching it. It took us like 3 months to get. Like, it literally takes them years.
Using the latest technology, the crew's camera systems allow them to film under and above the water in super slow motion. All of this is to film one key behaviour.
It does, yeah. And there's one moment that happened maybe a few years back, I want to say, where I don't know whether it was for Planet Earth or a different documentary, but like they actually did end up interfering, which they don't usually do.
They very rarely interfere, which is because they're documentarians. They're trying to document like nature as it happens, and presumably this is the example with the penguins, right?
No, it's natural, but it's bloody hard to watch.
Yes, I was going to mention that one. Of just they saw a huge bunch of penguins when they were doing a documentary of like they are trapped in a ditch and it is too steep. They are all struggling to get out.
2 days later, the weather allows the team to return to the colony. Already the gully has claimed more casualties. The team decide to act.
And you have all the penguins like falling down and they can't make it back to the group, and you see the behind the scenes of the crew being like, we're not allowed to interfere, but we really don't want to watch like 8,000 penguins just die.
Yeah, like we don't want to watch just like literally just mass starvation of penguins happen in real time, and it's like we can't go grab them and get them out of the ditch, but is it interfering if we maybe go and make a slightly easier path exist?
Yes, I think they dig like they dig out some of the snowbanks so the penguins can walk up it, and that's one of the things that's also fascinating about like the special features on like Blue Planet and Frozen Planet and Planet Earth. When you see like the camera people talking about how harrowing it is sometimes, like a really iconic moment from one of the Planet Earth documentaries in Yellowstone, where it's a bunch of wolves chasing another animal, and it's really, really dramatic. And the camera people talk about how harrowing it was watching this animal literally fight for its life for like half an hour.
Running head down, the herd's only thought is escape. A stroke of luck for the wolves.
And eventually it just gets tired and the wolves get it. And say, we feel bad, because obviously that animal died, but if we interfered and saved the animal, then are we killing the wolf?
Yeah, exactly. Like, at least in that situation, it's the circle of life. That's what happens. Like, these animals hunt, they need food.
Yeah, and if we interfered to save one animal, we might be inadvertently killing another. Which, is that not... It's the trolley problem, but with animals instead of people tied to the train tracks.
But, like, when it's just there's penguins stuck in a ditch, it's like, there's no other element to that. The snow's not getting any benefit out of the penguins being there.
Yeah, I think it's not related to, like, the Planet Earth series, but it's a documentary that David Attenborough narrated for Netflix. And the tone... I forget what it's called, but the tone is decidedly a lot more apocalyptic. Arguably... rightfully so, given that the thrust of the documentary is, hey, the planet's kind of fucked up and look at how it's affecting the animals. And they have this like really awful shot of like a bunch of walruses. Like, normally this section will be frozen and the walruses will be fine. The walruses have got really bad eyesight and they don't know that the snow's not there, and it's just like, HD footage of like just this cascade of walruses like collapsing down a big hill and all just dying at the bottom of the hill, and there's like nothing we can do.
Yeah, I mean, if, like, literally...
It's harrowing to watch.
And obviously there's a lot of, like, nicer things
that you
can watch.
And we're putting in too many clips of that 'cause we're trying to stay positive for Christmas, but I have to mention it. It's like the one of, like, the baby turtles where, hey, baby turtles, when they come out of the sand, they go towards the moon. Yeah. That's what guides them. But in today's society, there's a lot of, like, artificial light, and it just shows you all these baby turtles crawling towards the street and just falling into the sewer. And you just... No! And there's nothing they can do.
Oh my! Oh no! Oh, the baby!
But generally speaking, they kind of just have to take the foot off the wheel because, yeah, again, it's trying to document what real life is like.
There's a couple of moments that are, like, I don't even consider them to be controversial, but they're controversial because newspapers need to sell copies. It's like, I think it was one of the frozen planets. They filmed, like, a polar bear, like, caring for its young in a zoo.
Right.
And it was purported to be in the wild. And it's like, well, we couldn't put a fucking camera into an actual real polar bear's actual den.
Fair enough. And, yeah, like, obviously that kind of stuff is, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that if you're trying to, well, like, put yourself in the realms of documentarianism. But, like, there's one clip that I find very, like, satisfying to watch, and, like, there's many of that ilk of, as you were mentioning, like, The Hunt, and there's one where it went, like, quite viral of the lizard trying to get away from all the snakes.
The hero lizard.
Another hatchling has its first glimpse of a dangerous world.
Is it like the fucking legendary hero lizard? But it's like, set the scene. They're filming, like, I think it's the Galapagos Islands, maybe, or some volcanic island where it's like, okay, some lizards are born. This is a lizard. It is 1 second old. Comes out of the egg, and like 8,000 snakes come out of. It's like something out of a horror movie. And that's something that people have given, like, the Planet Earth and its associated documentaries credit for. Of like, it's not just footage of the animals; they create a narrative.
And as well, just the filmmaking of it, right?
The filmmaking, like, it's filmed like a fucking action scene where lizard's born, 1 second old, 8,000 snakes. And they have this moment where it's just getting chased, and it's just, imagine like being 1 second old, and it's like whole ass of snakes on your ass. It's like, what? And there's somewhere that it's a ball of snakes around the lizard, and it's like, oh no, the lizard's dead. They got the lizard, then you see it go, like an action hero, and get out, and it makes it, it survives.
Like, breaks out, yeah. Oh god, like I love moments like that, right? Where it's just, again, because it's shot so well and framed so well as well.
It's filmed like an action movie.
This lizard is just the hero lizard.
This absolute legendary hero lizard. And I think again, I don't consider it to be controversial, but hey, shitty websites got to get their clicks. I think it was for Planet Earth 2, maybe Planet Earth 3. They started adding like non-diegetic sounds into the footage. For example, like they have like a bug crawling, and they play a little tappy noises of it walking.
A golden mole. It's totally blind, but there's nothing to see underground anyway.
Which isn't the noise the bug is making, but they put it in there to, just elevate the footage. Yeah. And apparently people were complaining about that, which is always code when you see it written in like a news story online of 4 people on Twitter moaned about it and they made it into an entire story.
Yeah, that's such a weird type of article of like, so many people are super angry about
people
topic.
Online are saying, it's like, people well, how online. Many people?
Yeah, it's like, we grabbed 2 screenshots of angry people on Twitter.
We grabbed 2 tweets from people with nothing better to do, and are extrapolating on that to say that people online. But let's get back to Planet Earth now in the background. So in 2001, the BBC broadcast The Blue Planet, which is also fucking phenomenal. Just always like amazing footage of like underwater creatures and stuff just like swimming around doing the business. A series highlighting the natural history of the world's oceans. It received critical acclaim, high viewing figures, audience appreciation ratings, and many, many awards. It also became hugely profitable as a global brand, being sold to in excess of 150 countries worldwide. And I don't understand that when they sell it, other countries, especially English-speaking countries, why don't they just use the David Attenborough narration? Why would they buy something that is already of absolutely fucking exceptional quality and then pay more money to pay somebody else to do worse narration?
Well, it's so that they can use our tax-paying money well, right?
I guess so, yeah.
It's like, god damn it. Like, that's the one thing about the BBC. Whenever you think to yourself a little bit deeper of like, wait, no, this is all money that they're using for, like, really superfluous needs.
Yeah, but as well, I consider it to be the one justification for the TV license fee. People don't know in the UK, if your house can receive live television broadcasts, you have to pay what's known as the TV license. It's a small amount of money that you pay. Well, small amount of money. It's some amount of money. And it goes towards maintaining the infrastructure and the programming of the BBC.
Which I personally think has a lot less value
in today's age. It has less value, yes.
I think that the documentaries that they make are one of the few things nowadays.
I think it's all they should do. I think it's all the BBC
are
should
actually
do.
worth it.
If anyone's curious, like, why'd you do that? Well, initially the idea was, hey, following, like, I think it's like World War II. It's like, hey, Britain kind of needs to be connected and have access to the news. But it's not profitable for private companies to, say, for example, build radio transmitters that can transmit radio waves to the Outer Hebrides. But it's important that those people still have access to the news. So they came up with the idea of the TV license fee so that everyone pays a small amount of money so that everybody can access the same service. What a wild concept, right? Everybody pays a small amount of money so that everybody in the country has access to the same high-quality service, and they are able to access that service regardless of, socioeconomic background or geographical location. In regards to television and news, it makes less sense now. I agree with the idea in principle, but maybe not for the news. The infrastructure's already there.
We have the internet. Nearly everyone has internet access, either at their home or at very least like in public locations.
But also,
like
fun
libraries
fact as well, a lot of like the private companies in the UK that offer internet connections are still using lines that were dug for British Telecom back in the 60s. So they're still utilising stuff that was built using public money.
And obviously, a lot of the lines have been updated for like
broadband and fibre optic and stuff, but they're still using the original lines. So it's a weird grey area where, again, I agree with it in principle, but in the modern age, especially like the digital interconnected age, there's less value to the BBC as an organisation.
The BBC essentially has two things worth of value in my brain anymore, and it is like documentaries, like the David Attenborough documentaries, and then also Doctor Who.
But hopefully that does provide some context for the Americans watching, that the initial idea behind the BBC and the infrastructure that it uses was for the benefit of the entire country, and it's just an idea that is slightly archaic in the modern age.
It is, yeah. In the modern world, it doesn't really make as much sense, which is why so many people have got, a stick up the butt about it nowadays, because, it just... In a world where most people consume things on the internet and streaming services and things like that, not many people are actually consuming BBC much anymore.
I've always erred on the side that the idea behind the BBC is something worth protecting, although I don't always agree with the way that it runs and the decisions that they make. But the idea behind it is something that I think, if it ever went away, we're never going to get anything like it ever again. And you probably heard that quote about libraries at some point, where if you propose the idea of a library today, in today's political climate of, it's a building paid for with public money where anybody can walk in and just get movies, books, video games, access to services completely free at the point of access. They'd be like, you'd be shouted down as a fucking communist. And that's why you should protect and fund libraries, because if they ever went away, they're never fucking coming back.
Well, that's the thing, right, of how much we look at nowadays with, like, the Royal Mail, like, rail services, things like that in the UK that have gone from being, like, publicly funded to privately funded.
I believe Royal Mail is still publicly owned, but they outsource a lot of, like, stuff to private companies, and those private companies are just worse at doing it. Like, no doubt, Lucas, you've dealt with, like, Every or something, right?
Oh, God,
Yeah. And I think there's a great Lee Mack bit about it where, like, he was on, like, one of those panel shows that, again, a lot of them produced by the BBC. And they're talking about, they're raising the price of a stamp from, like, 40 pence to 45 pence at the time. And Lee Mack goes, it's ridiculous, right? Like, all the post office do is you put a letter in your local, like, post box, which is legally required to be within a certain distance from your home. You put that in there. A guy comes and collects it, takes it to a sorting office. That sorting office takes the letter alongside thousands of others and puts it into a big machine that sorts it and sends it off to a different part of the country. Usually by plane, sometimes by like railway track. Then that gets to another sorting office where it gets sorted into an even more specific pile of letters. That gets then given to a van that drives it to the local area of the person that you're sending it to. Then that's given to a postman who has to walk on foot to the person's front door and post it through their letterbox. And for that, they want 45 pence. It's ridiculous.
And normally all that happens within, like, a day.
Yeah, and within a day. And when you think about it like that, it's actually, okay, 45 pence or whatever a stamp costs now. It's actually a pretty fucking good deal.
Dude, check out what came for you in the mail.
Oh, yeah! What is it?
That's a conversation for another day, but I feel, hey, we're around Christmas time. We're talking about, like, people working together for the collective good of everybody else. That's a very wholesome Christmassy message, in my opinion.
I'm sorry for, like, going off on ranty little sidetracks.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I agree with the idea of the BBC in principle. I don't always agree with what they do, but I'm one of those people where I'm an idealist, where I think if it ever went away, we'd never get anything like it again, because private interests would never let something like that happen, because it would directly interfere with their profits, the same way, like, we're never fucking getting the railways nationalised in this country, ever. Too many private companies make too much money doing it. It's why, like, we have to protect the NHS, right? If every time there's talk like, hey, let's go with the American system, it's like, no thank you.
And we are obviously creeping towards that, but it still exists, and I would rather have these public services rather than not. Like, even if I don't necessarily agree with what the BBC's always doing, I'd rather it be there than not.
And I'd rather as well have it beholden to the public. Not that it always is, but again, conversation for another day. But as mentioned, I'm an idealist. I'm always going to, like, at least think positively, especially around the season that we're recording this. So let's move back to the wiki now, Luke. Talk about international. We talked a lot about the UK, so let's talk about those people who live a bit further afield. So the BBC pre-sold the series to several overseas broadcasters, including the Discovery Channel, the United States. Boo! Like, fuck the Discovery Channel, because I think it's just fucking aliens now. Like, Discovery Channel, like, in America's a joke, because it used to be like, oh, hey, here's, like, some high-quality documentaries about animals. And I think, like, have you seen, like, that game that's coming out? I think it's, like, been released, and it's, like, the dinosaur game where you fight like a Buster Blade.
No, yeah, I remember this.
A review for that game that I saw is, it's like watching the Discovery Channel at 3 a.m. There's like the Discovery Channel's like, oh yeah, it's fucking aliens and secret Hitler gold and shit all the time now, rather than actual factual information about animals and cool shit.
I thought that was like the History Channel or something that was all about aliens, lots of memes, right? Ah, okay.
Like, just all those like channels are like a joke now because they don't actually show like factual content.
Well, was it the Discovery Channel that did that Gears of War map pack, which I think is like
yes,
it's one of the, I think, just funniest and maybe most clever ways to reach out to people, right?
Yeah. So the story there is when Gears of War first got released, and I think it was a watershed moment for gaming, and there was a path presented to the people making video games, and they walked down the wrong path. So when Gears of War was first released, and there was a map pack coming out, and someone working for Xbox had a really great idea of, rather than selling this map pack to people, why don't we approach some big businesses and see if they'll sponsor it? And if they sponsor the map pack, we can give it to players for free, and players will get the map pack for free, and it'll have a little thing on it saying, as presented by, I think it was Future Weapons, like a TV show that Warner Bros. Put out. And as a result, everyone playing Gears of War got a free map pack, and it just said, oh, courtesy of Future Weapons, check it out on Discovery Channel. And I remember thinking to myself, that's a really good idea. That'd be a really great way to utilize. At the time, the idea of selling additional content for video games online, of having companies sponsor the content, and instead, game companies went the exact opposite way, and now you have to pay for the sponsored content. Like, you go into Fortnite and you pay money for the official K-pop Demon Hunters skin. It's like, why am I paying to advertise their film? It should be the other way around, right? Like Fortnite, especially, I think Fortnite should be the exact opposite way around, where companies should give the skin away for free because you're advertising it, and the more people using it, the more it's advertising their thing, and it shows that they're popular. But instead, they've convinced us to buy it for them. They've convinced us, the consumer, to buy their product to advertise it for them, and fuck that.
There's one TV show that I'm not necessarily familiar with the name of, but it was one of those, like, maybe it was Discovery Channel or something like that, where they went and talked about, like, all of the different types of, like, old, like, soldiers, like samurais and things like that, and went through, like, medieval weaponry and things.
Oh, Deadliest Warrior.
Deadliest Warrior, that was it. Can you imagine that was like giving out characters for free in For Honor, sponsored by like the new warriors that we're going to put in the next season or whatever? Like, that would be the perfect crossover, just the times did not align.
Yeah, like if you think about like that Gears of War example, there's so many ways that companies could have utilized that would have been, if not like beneficial for us as consumers, better than what we have now. Like, I think to like people buying like The Sims. The Sims will sell you licensed, branded clothes and items for your sim. It's like, why the fuck am I paying for that? Why isn't the company who wants me to have my sim wear their clothes paying the Sims to put that in the game and then giving it to me for free, so I perform a positive association with that brand? Why the fuck am I paying to advertise their product?
Yeah, because if you could have like a sim fully decked out in like branded clothing, if you know, especially like nowadays,
it should be something they pay me to do. I should be being paid or given that for free.
Yeah, it should be in there available for free, so that when you've got like streamers showing it off and stuff, it's like, hey, my person's all decked out in like fashion brand. Go check out this fashion brand.
Yeah, and it's whatever like person sold their soul to the devil to convince us to buy it instead they can eat my ass with a spoon. We'll bring it back to Planet Earth. On March 25th, 2007, the series began its run on American television on the Discovery Boo network, premiering on the Discovery Channel, Boo, and Discovery HD Theatre. There were a number of revisions to the original British programme. Actress and conservationist Sigourney Weaver was brought in to replace David Attenborough. So I get, okay, she's a conservationist, she likes animals, fair. But it says here the reason is that her familiarity to an American audience would attract more viewers. Surely they'd want to watch the show because it's just super HD footage of animals that has literally never been seen before. That's one of the things like the Planet Earth and its related documentaries are known for, of capturing literally one-of-a-kind footage that nobody else has, which is why they can license so much of their footage to other like documentaries, because they're the only people who have it, because they're the only people who have basically unlimited funding and the ability to go sit, for example, in a forest for weeks to capture 10 seconds of footage, because they have an unlimited production budget and as much time as they need to get the shot that they need. It's not like they're working for a private corporation that demands results immediately.
And demands ever-increasing profits,
exactly,
right?
Yes.
Which is, it's fascinating because there's probably nowhere else making documentaries with this level of, like, time and money.
This would not exist if the BBC did not fund it, because no private corporation would fund something this expansive, because it's not profitable to do so.
It's got to lose them so much money, right?
I think it must make the money just the sheer quality of it. I think of it like a comparison back to like Grand Theft Auto, where no other company on earth could ever afford to make a Grand Theft Auto, but that means no other company on Earth can reap the benefits of creating a Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, maybe you're right in terms of, like, extra licensing maybe makes them a lot of money back.
Like 150 different countries license out this footage. They've got to have at least made their money back. Not to mention, like, DVD and Blu-ray sales.
You would hope so, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Because the BBC have decided it's important.
Yeah, it's important. Like the whole reason this exists is because someone at the BBC decided that, hey, we think it is in the public's best interest to see the world and educate people about the world and the animals that live there. And we want to do so with the best quality and best technical expertise available to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go through the episodes now, Lucas. So do you have, like, a favourite region of the world or a favourite place in the world where animals live?
I don't really think so. I do find it very interesting to watch, like, jungle stuff because, like, hey, there's just so much, like, density in nature, right?
Yeah. This is our planet's hothouse, the jungle, the tropical rainforest.
The episodes we had for Planet Earth 1 were From Pole to Pole. You probably guess what that is, right? That's, like, just the broad overview of the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the animals it includes footage of include emperor penguins, polar bears. I love me a polar bear. Do you know how a polar bear hides in a snowstorm?
They just hide, right?
They also have footage of the rare Amur leopard, which is lives in the eastern part of Russia, and it has a population of just 40 individuals in the wild.
An Amur leopard, the rarest cat on Earth.
God.
Yeah, and they've got footage of it. And that's the thing, like, it took them weeks to get just footage of that leopard, and it's like a 2-minute segment in one episode.
Mm-hmm.
They also got footage of birds of paradise and African hunting dogs, which are my dad's favourite animal, and he recently went to Africa. I'll try and get a picture he sent me of when he went to Africa, and he didn't get to see an African painted dog because they just weren't in season at the time, and he was really upset because he loves painted dogs.
Are the birds of paradise the one that are, like, really good at mimicking?
No, that's the Lyre Bird.
That's the Lyre Bird,
the superior Lyre Bird, and there's really great footage out there of David Attenborough interacting with the superior Lyre Bird, and it's lyre as in, like, the instrument, not lying as if, like, telling an untruth. Although I guess both interpretations work. And it's where it's another one of those things that was a controversy because he suggests that, hey, this is a lyre bird that's in the wild, and listen to the noises it makes.
And now a camera with a motor drive. And that's a car alarm.
And you see the lyre bird mimic the sound of a camera. It's like, oh, that's from our documentary crew taking a photo of this bird. Then you hear it make the sound of a chainsaw. He goes, and he suggests that the reason it's making the sound of a chainsaw is because it's heard chainsaws cutting down the forest in which it lives. It turns out that specific individual was actually a captive bird in a zoo, and it wasn't mimicking the sound of a chainsaw, like cutting down a forest. It was mimicking the sound of a chainsaw when they were repairing the enclosure next door. They are technically lying and creating a narrative that isn't technically true, but it's fascinating nonetheless.
It's something that is probably happening in the wild, but they didn't need to. They chose to be fair. And they were
technically misleading the audience with that footage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't think they needed to, but the footage is still fucking hilarious. With just this little bird, and you see it go, it just makes the noise of fucking camera. It's great. But then we move on, Lucas, to mountains. That's the second episode, and that includes footage of Ethiopian wolves.
Okay. Is this the one that has, like, the goats that can scale up, like, near vertical?
Those goats that just, like, fucking defy gravity. Fucking the JoJo goats. It also has footage of grizzly bears and their cubs filmed in the Rockies, the rutting markhor, a rare snow leopard, one of the rarest animals on Earth, and also the giant panda.
I do love me some panda footage.
Like, panda footage is always awesome. I love all that footage of, like, pandas just, like, eating shit in zoos and falling over.
You just watch that kind of footage and you're like, obviously I know that, like, a lot of them are like, there's a low population of them. I don't know if they're classed as endangered or not. I'm not 100% sure, but like...
Of all the endangered animals, I think pandas deserve it the most, because everyone's like, just fuck. Just fuck. And we'll be more... And they're like, nah.
It's like, I'd rather spend my time just rolling around at the speed of not sound.
Yep, and the next episode is Fresh Water, and that includes footage of the salmon. Fairly, I appreciate that. Like, the show doesn't just say here's a super rare, interesting, unique animal. Sometimes it's just a fucking salmon.
Yeah, like mentioning the goats a minute ago, of like, it's just goats going up a mountain on their everyday trip, but it's like, it's fascinating because that's just an everyday occurrence.
It is, yeah. Like, there is wonder in the mundane, and I mentioned salmon as well. Have you been to Sheffield recently, where I live?
I've not been to Sheffield recently, no.
Okay, so if you leave, like, the train station, like, when you arrive in Sheffield, there's just this big silver fish outside, which I call the Sheffield salmon. I'm not sure if it is a salmon, but I just keep calling it the sensual Sheffield salmon. They also include footage of smooth-coated otters and mugger crocodiles, which fight. So you got otters versus crocodiles.
Oh, man. Otters are so good as well.
Oh, they're rapid.
Yeah, just watching footage of, like, otters, like, when they just hold hands and drift around and, like, let's see where we go.
Yep, just like swimming around. They also have, like, their favourite rock. They also have footage of Baikal seals, and I love seals. They're just dogs. They're just dogs that decide to, like, fuck it, we're staying in the water. And then one of my favourite fish, the red-bellied piranha.
Oh, right, okay.
I've always just liked piranhas, because they don't look as, like, their reputation belies just an animal that's kind of shit. Because piranhas, the reason, like, they school and attack, and they don't even attack, they just, like, they go for carrion. And, like, shit that falls into the water dead or is already injured.
Abounds with fearsome creatures, but none attacks its prey with more fury than the seaweed shark. The struggle is soon over.
It's because they're really shit, and they're just really nervous, and if you can get piranhas for tanks, and they say if you've got one piranha, it's a bad idea because they get really nervous and they're really skittish. And if you have a single piranha in a tank, we recommend covering the tank at night so they don't get scared.
Oh, no.
That's why they school. They only feel safe when they're together. So if they say if you have a single piranha in a tank, it's a really bad idea and it might just get so stressed it dies.
Yeah, and I can't remember whether this is 100% true, but, like, I believe the whole piranhas will just eat people alive is just a myth, right?
It's largely informed by engineered situations. I believe it's Teddy Roosevelt, when he was, like, traversing some jungle somewhere where you can find piranhas, was shown, like, a cow, or like a dead cow being put into a pond full of piranhas, which strips it to the bone, and he wrote about that as if it was typical behaviour. And experts have since concluded that they were likely starved piranha, specifically trapped in a pool in a bit greater number than they would ordinarily be, specifically to show an outsider that, rather than it being an example of typical behaviour of the fish.
Yeah, I don't think it's normal behaviour for them to, like, just see a live human and go, we're going to eat it alive and strip it to the bone.
Plenty of animals exhibit behaviour that is unusual when, like, they're forced to or they have no other choice. Yeah. That's why you have, like, they say, like, oh, sharks don't normally attack people. They do sometimes.
They can.
But when you see, like, news of a shark attack as rare as it is, like, you always have an expert say this is very unusual behaviour.
It's not like Jaws out there, right? Of, like, we have this idea in our heads from movies of, like, oh, well, piranhas or sharks are just gonna, like, instantly see you and kill you.
Yeah, I remember, like, it was the guy who wrote the book, like, the Jaws the film is based on, felt so bad about the reputation, like, of sharks after the release of the film that they spent the rest of their life campaigning on behalf of sharks because so many of them got killed in the wake of Jaws, the movie being released. They felt so guilty about that.
I'm sure Planet Earth, because it's obviously a documentary, like, that probably hasn't come up in that kind of scenario, but when you're just making movies and films and TV shows about nature, you probably should be careful about what you do with that.
Exactly, yes. But we'll move on now to episode 4 about caves, described as the planet's final frontier. And the animals they find there include the Texas blind salamander.
A blind salamander?
Yeah, it's one of the rarest It's one of the rarest animals on Earth because it only lives in, like, one location, Texas, in a cave.
It's the same story with other troglobites. There may well be less than 100 Texas cave salamanders in the wild.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned to you the time I just got, like, absolutely called out of the zoo.
Oh, what's that for? Go on.
So, I went to Chester Zoo, which I don't overly like zoos, but this, you know, Chester Zoo's a very big zoo. It's a conservationist site as well, like...
Yeah, zoo is a very nebulous term, and I would always recommend, before you go to a zoo, look up if the money goes towards paying for the zoo or paying for conservation of the animals in the wild, and that the animals in that zoo are there as ambassadors for their species, rather than for entertainment.
Mm-hmm. And anyway, I went, you know, through the zoo and all that, and we were in the bat cave, and I made a reference to the, you know, the saying, blind as a bat.
Yes.
And the person doing, like, the guided tour turned around and was like,
nope,
hang on, you're just completely incorrect here. And obviously they must go through that, like, every day of their life.
Yeah.
But they just, like, absolutely slapped me down.
We've got to correct this misinformation. No. Bats actually have fairly decent eyesight. They just don't use their eyes as much as they do their ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to tell the story, like, about a friend of mine, where he was going to a zoo when he was like 15, 16 years old, and there was a guy there who was absolutely fucking terrified of going into the bat cave.
Have you ever seen a bat? They're hideous. Lifeless, beady eyes, clawed feet, huge, grotesque wings, fangs.
And what they'd done is they put like a bunch of raisins in his hood without him knowing.
Oh, yeah.
And the way he tells the story is that they were outside. This guy did not want to go in. He's absolutely terrified of bats. Like, look, the bats aren't going to get you. They're going to fly. They might fly near you, but the bats don't want to hit you. They'll fly around you. Also, they're fruit bats, so they're not going to. They don't eat. They don't drink blood. Not like vampire bats. He's like, and apparently, about after like 20 minutes, he was stood there like shaking like a shitting dog. Eventually, he got coaxed in, and the second he walked in, like 50 bats flew directly at his face. Tried to get in his hood, and first thing he does, try to protect himself, throws his hood up. Raisins fly everywhere, bats go crazy, and all these statues, oh, they're shitting on me! They're shitting on me! But it's just, they said, like, it took him, like, a good, like, 20 minutes convincing him to walk in, and the second he walked in, every bat just flew directly at him. Now, the next episode, episode 5, Desert. So this is an installment that features the harsh environment that covers 1/3 of the land on Earth. And that's one of the other things about like Planet Earth and its similar documentaries, like just the scale at which nature exists.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Just like any time you see a documentary about like deep sea, right? And you're like, oh dear God, like we think aliens don't exist, they're beneath us.
Yep. And it's just, there's all sorts of crazy bullshit down there, which is covered in Blue Planet and Blue Planet 2. But the animals they encounter are the wild Bactrian camel, one of the rarest examples of the camelid. That's the one that has 2 humps. So that's like the classic idea people have a camel with the 2 humps. Because most camels only have 1. They also find footage of the Nubian ibex, which is one of those, like, you know, deer, super long curly horns, as well as the fennec fox.
Oh, yeah, fennec fox.
Fennec foxes are also... And the flat lizard.
The flat lizard.
It's a great name for a lizard, just a flat lizard.
I want to know how flat a flat lizard is now.
It's nice, pretty flat.
But, like, to earn the name, like, just... You don't get a proper name, you're just called flat lizard.
Well, it's a type of lizard, so it's a subspecies of lizard, and there are multiple kinds of flat lizards.
Right.
That's the thing, is, like, the amount of animals that you just have no idea exist. Like when you watch like a show like this, and you go, and here's like this fucking random ass lizard, and it's like, I've never even heard of that lizard. And it's like, yeah, there's like 80 billion lizards. Oh shit. Episode 6 is Ice World, so that looks at the Arctic and Antarctica, containing 90% of the world's ice. That's the latter. So Antarctica contains 90% of the world's ice, though probably not for much longer. And the animals they encounter there are humpback whales, emperor penguins, Arctic foxes and wolves, and a female polar bear.
Again, shout out to the foxes. Like Arctic foxes are really cute with like the way that they do like the jump into.
That's
like,
the thing as well. Yeah, that footage comes from a. I'm not sure if it is Planet Earth, but it comes from one of those documentaries, and that's the iconic footage of the Arctic fox going. Sticks. So, next episode of that, number 7, the Great Plains. That's the savanna, the steppe, the tundra, and the prairie. Animals included there include the Mongolian gazelle, the migratory snow geese, American bison, ostriches, one of my other favourite birds. I love ostriches and emu. The pika, which is that cute little rat thing that looks like a Pikachu.
Pikers. This young male has been awake all winter, living on the food reserves he built up last year.
And then we also have the Tibetan fox. And Lucas, do you know about the Tibetan fox?
I don't know.
Okay, so Tibetan fox is the fox that looks like it's just wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah, so you've never seen a Tibetan fox, have you?
I may have done because I've watched Planet Earth.
Okay, Lucas, this is a Tibetan fox. Just give me your honest reaction to what a Tibetan fox looks like. It's the only reaction, right? Isn't that an amazing animal?
Why has it got such, like, a human-looking face?
It looks like a shitpost, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That's one of the best things, like, just sometimes when you're watching, like, a documentary like this, and this is that thing will fucking appear and you just lose your shit.
It also looks like those bad taxidermies.
The bizarre Tibetan fox, the piker's nemesis.
It really does. It also includes footage of the Indian elephant, the Indian rhinoceros, the pygmy hog. Oh, the pygmy hog. Lucas, do you want to see a fucking amazing animal?
I want to see a pygmy hog.
You want to see a pig? Look at that.
Oh, okay.
There's a word that I seldom use, but it describes that animal, and it's a critter. That's just that's a critter, right?
It's like a capybara gone wrong.
They also have footage of the lesser florican, which is one of the smallest birds on Earth. And even the picture of them on Wikipedia just looks really just fucking tiny. It's incredible. And then we move on to, Lucas, your favourite, Jungles, episode 8. This examines the jungles and tropical rainforests and includes footage of animals such as the birds of paradise, the siamang, which is one of those monkeys that has like the super long arms, the orangutan, as well as the red crab spiders that live in the jungle.
Yeah, I love, like, especially with the birds ones, they always have really, like, fascinating, like, mating rituals to watch,
there's
right?
that one that dances, right? And it goes...
And the ones that, like, build all, like, the nice... I think the one that does the dance, like, builds, like, a little stage to present itself on and everything. It's so fascinating.
Moving on, the 9th episode is Shallow Seas. That's devoted to looking at the shallow seas that fringe the world's continents. Although they constitute 8% of the world's oceans, they contain most marine life. Includes footage of jawfish, green sea turtles, the wonderpuss octopus, dugongs. I love dugongs. Looks so incredible. Krill, comb jellies, sea lions, dusky dolphins, short-tailed stingray, the sand tiger shark, Cape fur seals, and, of course, the great white shark.
And yeah, I really enjoy watching the sea episodes when it's like the shallow seas. When it gets to like deep sea stuff and you're like, oh dear God, everything is terrifying.
We're not meant to be down there. And then number 10, Seasonal Forest. The penultimate episode surveys the coniferous and deciduous seasonal woodland habitats. It includes footage of animals such as the wolverine, routinely attack bears and they're like this big.
Well, no, wolverines are just wolves, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what the actor Hugh Jackman thought wolverines were. He didn't think wolverines were a real animal, fun fact. Talks about it in a previous episode. It also includes footage of a pine marten. Oh man, do you want to see a pine marten, Lucas? Are you ready to see a fucking...
I don't even know what the hell this thing is.
You ready to see a critter?
Oh, that's adorable.
That's a critter, right? It also includes...
That is.
It also includes footage of mouse lemurs.
Just nature's cool, man.
Nature's awesome. Cool. And finally, Ocean Deep. This is the one that Lucas doesn't want to cover. So the final installment explores the deep, deep ocean, beginning with the whale shark, which I've seen. I've been to the only aquarium in the world that has a whale shark in it. They're fucking terrifying.
Alright.
Fucking enormous. It also includes footage of scad mackerel, monkfish, giant isopods. I like the giant. I fucking hate them. Footage of undersea volcanoes, as well as Pacific spotted dolphins, green turtles, and sailfish. And if anyone out there can't be arsed watching 10 straight hours of HD fuzzy animals, you can go watch the Earth film. So what they did is they compiled the best footage from this 10 hours into a 2-hour-long movie called simply Earth, and then it narrated by James Earl Jones.
No, what are you doing?
In the United States.
Yeah, but still, I think that's a good summation, though, isn't it? It's like, fuck it, how do we get people's attention? Put Darth Vader in it and make it 2 hours long.
Yeah, but I would highly recommend if people can track it down, especially for the price that I paid for it, go watch it. Otherwise, you can find like clips of all the stuff on YouTube uploaded by the official account in the best quality they have available. But holy shit, I fucking love watching nature documentaries. This year, I'm definitely going to try and track down like one of the sequels to it and watch that over the Christmas period.
Mm-hmm.
But cheers for watching, everybody. Let us know your favourite animal in the comments section below or our Discord. Cheers.
So, Karl, what a wiki page we've just gone through, and I was exhilarated by the conversation we've just had.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed our discussion of insert topic here.
Insert topic here was fantastic, yes.
But for anyone still watching the video up to this point, first of all, thank you for supporting the content. It's very much appreciated. You watching to this point is very good for our analytics, so well done you. But also, this is the part of the video where myself and Lucas shout out our supporters over on our Patreon, or our PPs, as we like to call them.
Well, there are big PPs, Karl.
You are correct, Lucas. The size of their PPs is very intimidating.
I don't like this, but I guess at this point it should become the branding. Karl made this joke, and we live with it forever.
Exactly, yeah. Do you know what? That's the origin of all the content we've worked on, Lucas. I made a bad joke, we're fucking rolling with it.
We are rolling with it. I apologise if you don't like being called a big PP, but that's what we've landed on, apparently.
And if you don't like being called a big PP, you can choose exactly how we refer to you, because a fun game we have between us and our supporters over on our Patreon is them trying to fuck us over by coming up with the most weird, obscure, or difficult to pronounce name they can for us to shout out. For example, Lucas, who have we got to give a shout out to first?
Well, we have to give a shout out to the Burning Dragon who gave us Morse code to interpret.
And I'm going to be honest, the creativity being displayed by our audience is frightening. And I'm not sure how one would verbalise Morse code. I guess like ... dash ... But that's going to get real old real fast. So we popped the Morse code into a translator, and it told us that it said, please pay to use this Morse code translator. So we popped it into a free one, and it said, hey, Karl and Lucas love the content, which is a great name. I like that name.
It's a very, very nice name for us to deal with, right? Of like, compared to what we may deal with later down the line, it's a very forgiving one, even though it was in, I want to say not even a language, just a symbolism that we did not know off the top of our heads.
As I said, I'm waiting for someone to like track down like ancient Sanskrit.
I'm waiting for the moment that happens, and then Karl opens up the shout-outs with, I can't believe somebody did this.
I can't believe you've done this. But Lucas, who do we have to shout out next?
Well, afterwards we have to shout out ghost emoji, ghost emoji, ghost emoji, little underscore ghost, ghost emoji, ghost emoji, ghost emoji. So, little ghost, thank you.
Lucas, you forgot the most important part. The ghost emojis are sticking their tongue out.
They are cheeky ghosts. Like they're
little cheeky ghosts.
Tatum, just get in the car.
Little underscore ghost always refer to those just little ghost kamikaze attack ghosts from Dragon Ball Z.
And it's annoying, we can't put a clip in of that because apparently every time like Gotenks use Super Ghost Kamikaze attack, it was known over here as the seizure beam. Because the effects they use for Super Ghost Kamikaze causes seizures, which, admittedly, is a pretty powerful attack. Why didn't more characters in Dragon Ball use the seizure beam? We greatly respect Little Ghost and their commitment to their branding and theming. We wholeheartedly endorse and respect that. But moving swiftly on, the next person to shout out is another long-time supporter of the content. That is Tiniqui Horshatter. And they followed up with, this is going to be embarrassing for me. People probably can tell that I'm not a student of language, but Tiniqui Horshatter, Nikwa, Talax Kali, Wan Nikoni, So Pelatum, To Huantin, Tit Klawma, Mayak Talak Wali, Tika Mati, Tr, Kal Tikilt Yoan. And I don't want to run that through a translator because I don't deserve to know what it means.
Did you hear something?
No.
Did I?
I don't know.
It is one of those things I think Cole probably deserves for inciting the challenge of come fuck us up.
Yeah, I did invite our audience to submit names that'd be difficult for us to pronounce for their own amusement. So, Tiniqui Holshatter, I greatly appreciate that you've continued to do that. And you, as well, they shift up their name each and every month, so I can't learn the pronunciation or even the dog shit pronunciation that I use. But yes, thank you for supporting us for so long, even though I continually butcher your name in the outros to our videos.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of an easier one to shout out this time, which is Split Scream, and they've the additional Easter Island head at the end of their name today, so I appreciate that.
It is my understanding that the Easter Island head emoji is used to portray someone who's super stoic and badass.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, yeah. Like, do you know, like the Chad meme? Like, people always like when you got like super strong jawline and like, you know, handsome features like I have. Like, you just like post like loads of Easter Island head emojis underneath.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. But
I sure hope that people don't watch this far into the video. I'm like, no, you don't, Karl. It's like, it's a joke. I'm being self-depreciating.
Squidward, you're even more handsome now!
But moving on, next person shout out is another long-time supporter who's kept their name very consistent. The only thing more consistent than their support has been their dedication to the name, Rosalindis Memphis. And in that vein, I will continue with my commitment to try and find a song with the word Memphis in it to edit in with your name. I have yet to find one that doesn't get these shout-outs copyright struck. I will find one. There is a song out there that the owner of doesn't give enough of a shit about to sweep YouTube for copyright claims.
I had to send you the notification of like, I'm really sorry, Karl. The Nightcore versions didn't make it.
Yes, I initially I put in a clip from Mark Combs walking in Memphis. That got copyright struck. Then I thought, didn't Cher do a cover of that song? Yeah, Cher sent us a copyright strike. Well, hang on a sec. Maybe if I speed up the Mark Combs Cher version, still got a copyright strike. I went, hang on a sec. And then I thought to myself, surely there's a Nightcore remix of this song. There's a Nightcore remix of everything. I found it. Master Blaster, who did the remix, also sent us a copyright strike. I'm running out of covers of that song to try, but I will keep trying for as long as you're willing to support our content. Thank you, Rosalindis Memphis.
Hell goddamn yeah. And the next person that I have to shout out is Rama Sawatome. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but yeah, just absolute shout out to them. And I unfortunately don't have a Sawatome song to put in here as like a clip.
And I'm not familiar with the character of Rama Sawatome, so when I Googled it for last month, again, long-time supporter, it's appreciated. It's from some anime, so that's cool.
Okay.
I learned something new. So in addition to supporting our content, Rama Sawatome introduced me to an anime I wasn't familiar with, so I appreciate that also. And the next person to shout out is another name I recognise, Kicking Bucket. And Lucas, Kicking Bucket means to shuffle off his mortal coil. What's a character from fiction you think eats shit especially hard? I can put a clip in of.
Eat shit especially hard might be Krillin, but the person that first came to mind was the person that I guess makes themselves eat shit a lot, which was Bakugo from My Hero Academia.
I'm going to put in a clip of that one like orc in Lord of the Rings who gets drop kicked out a window by another orc. Because it's such a random moment, but I remember watching Lord of the Rings and going, hang on, that was awesome. I'm definitely going to find an excuse to put a clip of that in some of my content at some point. So here it is. Sponsored by Kicking Bucket.
You saying like somebody getting drop kicked and eating shit reminds me of Age of Ultron, where Steve, Captain America, just goes fully horizontal.
I will never get over when Steve Rogers goes full pencil and fucking just annihilates that Ultron drone. But Lucas, who have we got to shout out next?
And Karl, the next person that we have to shout out is Daddy Grunt. And with this being...
To clarify, that's Daddy Grunt.
Yeah.
So do you want to be Daddy or do you want to be Grunt?
That's the real question. Is like, to me, I think at least putting a clip from Jingle All the Way of just Arnold Schwarzenegger being the daddy.
Okay, and then can I put in a clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger like, who is your daddy and what does he do? It's not a tumor.
I have a headache.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
You know, December-worthy clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger being a daddy is just Jingle All the Way, where he is the daddy.
Yeah, like my favourite thing about that film is, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's head is so big, he wears, like, the martial arts belt his son gets around his head and it barely fits. Like a belt designed to go around, like, a child's waist for martial arts. Arnold Schwarzenegger can barely tie it around his massive fucking head.
The fact that people just treat that dude like he's a regular suburban dad and not Mr. Universe.
Like, never forget that in that movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger Shin Shoryukens a fucking reindeer and sends it through the air. But anyway, last but not least, we have to shout out Be of Awesome, another month, another zesty expedition. Can you say this one 3 times fast? One smart fellow, he felt smart. One smart fellow, he felt smart. One smart fellow, he felt smart.
Which I do want to let everyone know that was Karl's second take, because, yeah, that was actually difficult to say.
In the rehearsal, I did it first time. I did it first time without mistakes in the rehearsal. That's 2 out of 3. Fuck you. We're done. Thank you for supporting the content. We'll see you all next month. Have a great New Year, great Christmas, whatever you happen to celebrate. Just make sure you go out there and have a great time. Spread some cheer, some joy, some good times, as we try to do this year.
Hell, goddamn yeah.